It's lucky number 7 for the show, as tonight Espo and I will give our monthly power rankings for the first time on Leading Off, as we determine who truly is the number 1 team in baseball heading into the month of May. We also got you covered from number 30 all the way down to number 1, so we won't leave off a single team tonight. Plus, we're going to take on some fan-submitted questions tonight and much more on Leading Off. And once again, we are live. This is episode number 7 of Leading Off, live from Studio 69 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. Hopefully I wasn't too loud there. Welcome back to the show on this Monday, April the 26th, 2021. I am your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by the 4-letter man himself, ESPO.
Way too loud, Rich. Way too loud.
Way too loud. I
don't know. I'm just reciting what the people are saying, but
ouch.
Thank you, Rich. It's a pleasure to see you, as always, leading off once again on this lovely April Monday night. Lucky number 7 indeed.
Lucky number 7. Now I feel a little bit self-conscious here. I got to probably lower it down, maybe like little library level, maybe a little too low. All right. Yes, we are back. Lucky number 7. It's crazy that this thing all started March 15th, and it feels like almost a lifetime ago.
It does.
And now we're here, and it's only episode 7. And it's going to be amazing when we reach like the 50th episode plateau, the 100th episode plateau. You look back on these shows, and you're going to be like, wow, we really fucking sucked when we started this thing.
We're in the infancy, Rich, of a burgeoning dynasty. It's going to be great, okay? But
hopefully it's either like a late 90s Yankees dynasty or those early 2010s Giants dynasty. Oh man.
I was thinking mid 2000s Red Sox, Rich. 04, 07. I know you love those teams.
Well, they had some breaks in between when they had some tough years and still found a way back. And look at the Red Sox now. They're one of the best teams in baseball after everybody projected them towards the low end. But it's also April, so we don't know. But we're also going to talk more about it when we do our power rankings tonight. The MLB Power Rankings from 30 all the way down to number 1 will be our monthly segment here on Leading Off. Espo figured we throw our hat in the mix. All these other websites, Bleacher Report, MLB.com, everybody does these power rankings. Not for nothing. I love my Yankees. Yankees are being ranked way too high on a lot of these power rankings still. I don't know if it's just like they're getting over the off season or whatnot, but I can admit the Yankees should not be anywhere close to the top 10 in any of these power rankings. But we're going to talk more about it later on tonight. But I do have some good news for all you hardcore Leading Off fans. And if you follow us on Twitter, you already know Leading Off is now on YouTube. So you can check out all of our full episodes ever since that first episode back on March 15th of 2021, obviously this year. All 6 episodes are up there. We'll probably have some best of clips, some short clips to put up there as well. And of course, after tonight's episode is over, this episode will also be on YouTube as well. So we're making waves now, Espo. We're not only just Twitch now.
We are expanding our reach.
Ooh, 3D. I like that. Are you a big fan of 3D movies?
I am not. As an epileptic, I'm not the biggest fan of 3D films.
Sorry for laughing.
I don't know if epilepsy impacts it, but I just threw it in there. But yeah, anyways, ducks on the pond.
Oh my God. No, we're not going to have any 3D ducks going into your screen here. We don't want to scare us right now. No. But alrighty, ducks on the pond. Let's get into some news and notes. Of course, the bases are loaded with all the MLB news, but there actually wasn't a ton of stuff, but this is a big one to start off. Madison Bumgarner throwing a no-hitter yesterday in a 7-inning contest. It was part of the doubleheader against the Braves. The Diamondbacks obviously won 7-0. Bumgarner, congratulations to him, obviously, on such an accomplishment at his age. Many people are saying that he's done and maybe he is now moved on past his prime. And I think he has moved on past his prime. We'll cut it straight. But should the 7-inning no-hitter count towards the records books as an official no-hitter?
Well, yes and no. I think in the context of, technicality in a regulation baseball game, it is that now, seeing as the doubleheaders are 7 innings. You do have to call it a no-hitter, but for me, I'm putting an asterisk next to it, and I'm calling it 7 innings because for me, a true no-hitter, you have to get 27 outs, 9 innings. And, 2 innings short, that's just not going to cut it for me to call it a true no-hitter.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. It's a tough call because, on the one hand, you're saying like, well, hey, MLB put these rules in place to now make the doubleheader game 7 innings long. So Bumgarner is throwing a no-hitter within the guidance of Major League Baseball saying, hey, well, this is their official game. It should be an official no-hitter. I go through history, though, however, and I've seen no-hitters thrown past the 9th inning and not count because that team would lose the game. I've seen combined no-hitters. You made mention to it before the show, like the combined no-hitter like the Angels had years ago. And it's like a guy like Jose Arredondo, who only got like an inning in that game, is getting credited for a no-hitter. So,
I mean, look, I don't want to punish Bumgarner. I mean, he did his job. He didn't allow any hits, but
it's a great game.
It feels kind of cheap to the guys that lost no-hit bids in the 8th and 9th inning over the years, of which there have been countless. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. Listen, Bumgarner pitched a great game. Got to give him credit there. This is a guy again who's trying to figure things out in Arizona, but I just can't sit back and count this as an official no-hitter. I can't do it. Obviously, I'm looking at the chat right now. If you guys have any comments on 7-inning no-hitters being counted as official, I'm happy to read them over here. I did see some comments before offline. This is offline chat now. Saying that, yeah, you should. This is from one of our buddies here, AJ. He said, if this is how you're making the games or as played, it should count. You should put an asterisk if you want, but these games should count. Let's see if we got rule was established in 1991. The cleaned other no hitters are not. They don't count. That was not English. I don't know why I read that comment, but I have a lot of back and forth comments happening in like this chat alone, just asking, hey, like, should a 7-inning no-hitter count as an official no-hitter? Waspel54, who obviously is Tom Waspel, my co-host of Savage in the Bronx, which check out later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch, says counted with an asterisk. So there's a lot of that. I think that's a safe call as well. I think there is definitely, you have to kind of credit it, but as an official no-hitter, I just can't move past it. I just can't do it. So anyway, we're going to move on.
You will.
I'm going to look at the chat for any more comments on the 7-inning no-hitter, but let's get into some injury notes because we don't like to talk about it, but we do have a lot of fantasy owners here who hold these guys onto their team. So I want to kind of give an update on a few of these guys. Mike Trout was one of the biggest names that went down on not on the injury list, but he is day-to-day right now with a left elbow contusion. Also, Christian Yelich, on a lighter note, he is due to return, and they're saying that he may return as soon as the end of the week to the Milwaukee Brewers. He was dealing with some lower back stiffness, of course. Jake Odorizzi, just brought on by the Astros, only threw to one batter the other day and suffered some right forearm tightness. That was also the game that Kent Emanuel came in and threw 8 2/3 out of the bullpen. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Quite a relief effort. Haven't seen that in ages. Almost a complete game in relief. I mean, crazy. But for me, the most glaring injury you've mentioned up there has got to be the Yelich injury. I mean, so far the Brewers have looked pretty darn well. They're first in the Central, but if he can come back healthy, that's just such a boost for them. I mean, they're already doing so well, and it's like they're already kind of playing with house money. I mean, given it's only April, but if he can come back and be strong for them, that would be just massive. And also for my fantasy team as well. I would very much like my second round pick to produce.
Milwaukee, another surprise team, and we're gonna definitely get into it more.
More on them later.
Definitely more on that later. So stay tuned when we talk about all these teams and their progress so far throughout the 2021 season. But yeah, some tough injuries there. And Dinelson Lamet. I mean, last week it was crazy because I talked about him coming off the IL, and now he's right back on it with the same sort of injury. So hopefully Lamet doesn't miss the season. San Diego, obviously, they went into the season with this super rotation, and they're kind of losing some guys here that are significant to that rotation. So, well, we'll see what happens. But hey, speaking of San Diego, how about that series this past weekend? Taking 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers.
Incredible. I mean, no offense to the Yankees and Red Sox rivalry, but
here we
the
go.
Padres and Dodgers. It's the best in the game right now, Rich. You can't deny it. And I guess a shout out to our friend J.R. Pugs.
Oh, yeah.
Our guest last week. He said that for the Padres to be legit, they had to take care of business at Dodger Stadium, and take care of business they did. So more on the Padres later in our power rankings for sure.
Of course. Obviously, you guys can tell that that's probably the biggest segment we have tonight. So we'll get into it more. Last note, Yasiel Puig, more of a fun note here. Yasiel Puig has signed with the Mexican League's El Aguila de Veracruz. That's all my Puerto Rican coming out to pronounce that. Yes, Yasiel Puig at the age of 30 finally has found some work here, and he's going to be playing with the LMB, the Mexican League. Any thoughts on Yasiel Puig finding employment?
Puig, your friend. Those are my only thoughts. No, I'm happy he's got a job, and I hope he does very well with El Aguila de Veracruz. That is my very white New Jersey accent.
In English, it's called the Veracruz Eagle. So the Eagle. So El Aguila.
Go Eagles then.
De Veracruz. But yeah, happy early Cinco de Mayo, everybody. So yes, that's our Ducks on the Pond. Really quick news and notes there. But let's plug some Twitters like we always do. You can follow us at L Off Podcast, at Loft Podcast, that is. You can follow ESPO at
The Life of ESPO.
And you can follow me at Rich J. Rivera. So, all right, let's go. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's show. You know, I love some meat and potatoes, especially like on a Sunday, maybe some Sunday sauce. But we're going to get into the power rankings. And this has been a segment that ESPO and I kind of talked about earlier on when we really started getting things going with the show, that we would eventually start doing some power rankings. You know, all these other sites, they like to do it weekly, but we're going to do it monthly. You know, we want to get a nice, good chunk of a month.
We're not going to overdo it.
We're not going to overdo it. Exactly. Great point, my friend. So let's do it. We're going to do our power rankings, but let's start it off with our 30 through 6, and we're going to get into our number 5s to number 1 in a few moments. But let's just pull this up. It's taking me a little longer than it should, but there it is. Yeah, these are our power rankings from number 30 through number 6. I'm going to get rid of some of these things because it's all in the way. ESPO, you have the Yankees at 14, and you would think those would be my rankings, but I have the Yankees over in the number 20 position on my power rankings here. Can you explain yourself?
I'm still putting respect on the Yankee brand, I guess. That's all it is. But I think it's right where they belong. I do think in a couple months' time, and hey, maybe even a couple of weeks' time, we may be talking about them in the top 10. But for now, I think it's the appropriate spot to rank them. They definitely have the talent to compete with the upper echelon, but right now the results and the talent are not one and the same. So I think that's the spot for them right now.
I just couldn't do it. And also, I apologize for my number 23 position on my end. The Diamondbacks kind of crossed right into the Rockies because they have a long fucking name.
How dare you, Richard?
I should have joined that shit to the D-backs, but whatever. That's my bad right there. But yeah, maybe I'm not as forgiving because for my power rankings, I'm not trying to base it on what these guys are supposed to do. I'm basing on what they're doing right now. And I can't give the Yankees anything more than where they're at right now. And there's a couple better records even above the Yankees. I mean, below the Yankees here. The Pirates have a better record than the Yankees right now, which is insane. And I love shitting on the Pirates. But yeah, it was a tough call. But I had to put my Yankee biases aside and put the Yankees in a fair 20th spot. They're showing some signs of life over the last week, which is a good sign. But, for the most part, he's playing a lot of bad ball. I can't grant him a low spot on this list. Have the Mets over at the number 8 spot. Clearly, the Mets are not on your list. So obviously they're in your top 5, which we're going to get to shortly. So yeah, you know what? We're not going to waste any time. Let's get into it then. Go with the top 5 power rankings from 5 to 1. We're going to get rid of this thing here because it's just taking up the entire screen. And it's annoying. There's my face.
Just trying to sneak back in.
You unfortunate fans out there. All right, ESPO, started off at your number 5 position of your power rankings. Now that we have the grasp of the number 30 to number 6 positions on each side.
Oh, Rich, you're looking at it right in front of you.
There we go.
The New York Metropolitans check in at the number 5 spot for me. Well, I appreciate what you said about what the power rankings reflecting, current standings and results, and maybe not what they should be. But even in spite of the Mets postponements and cancellations, I still think they're playing like a top 5 team in the league right now. The offense, it's definitely concerning so far, so I will acknowledge that. But the pitching has just been dominant, flat out dominant. The starting pitching, especially so, led by the best in the world, DeGrom, of course. But Stroman and Tawan Walker are the reason this team could take a leap that they didn't make last year, and that's depth. They've had DeGrom, but I mean, these guys, we'll see. We'll see if they can stay healthy. That's really what I'm knocking on wood for. But
shout out to my co-host again, Tom Waspel, who asked in the chat to you, Espo. You realize DeGrom doesn't pitch every day, right?
He doesn't need to because we got the depth. We got Stroman, we got Tawan, we got Cookie, and we got Thor coming back soon. I'm excited for what this team is going to do. But even so, the pitching, the results have been great so far.
Yeah, I think the only thing that kind of kept the Mets out of the top 5 for me was just the amount of games played, which is to no fault of their own, obviously. A lot of these postponements that came out of nowhere. But yeah, I think that was more of the reason why I didn't keep it out. There was not Yankee biasness there. Let's just get that out of the way. If they played enough games, I would have definitely kept them in my top 5. They probably would have been top 3 team for me, honestly. So my number 5 spot's the White Sox. The Chicago White Sox, who are not even the first place team in their division. And again, which is kind of like contrary to what I just said before, based on what their performance is now. This White Sox team.
There's Rich. It's our show. We make the rules.
Great. 12-9. They've had some cool. They've had some great accomplishments already on the field. Carlos Rodon's no hitter of recent. I'm giving the White Sox that number 5 spot, but had the Kansas City Royals that much closer. I mean that. Oh my God, what's happening in the American League Central between those two teams, completely unexpected.
It's wild. That's going to be a fun division to watch for sure. But White Sox definitely going to be a team in the mix for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm up now?
Number 4.
Yes, sir. We're going to go with the Brew Crew. Milwaukee Brewers at 4. They are leading their Central Division as well. The White Sox weren't, so that didn't really make sense. But anyways, we're going with it. Corbin Burns. Enough said, Oof. Right? That's all you really need to say for this. But the pitching staff, not just Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff is also just as every bit of an ace as Burns is. They're probably one of the last teams I'd want to face in a short series in October. I think they're going to be the division winner when it's all said and done. And I think when Yelich comes back, that offense is really going to start to take off. So Brewers were an easy pick to include in the top 5.
A surprise 3.19 combined team ERA to start the season for the Brewers. You mentioned Burns and Woodruff, and I also got a shout out to Freddie Peralta,
who's been
a long reliever for a number of years, but he's been having a standout 2021 campaign. My number 4 spot goes to the San Diego Padres, much to Joe Puglisi's pleasure, because he's got the Padres nowhere near touching the Dodgers when it comes to the National League West championship.
Padre hater?
Oh, I think maybe just a little bit, un poco. But Padres, 2.75 team ERA, which leads all of baseball. Currently, obviously sitting in not even in second place, which is crazy. Not even second place in the division right now, because the Giants have just been off to a great start. 13-11. Again, know what you're going to get out of this team. Where did that Padre come from? I was just looking away, and all of a sudden, it's a visor.
I'm on the Padres bandwagon now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Padres at 4. Who do you got at number 3?
Number three. The winners of 13 in a row. Well, that streak was just snapped, but the Oakland Athletics, the best in the American League. They are just too fun to watch. They're just the scrappiest, most ragtag bunch of players in the league. Billy Beane just always finds a way to win with his team. And Matt Olson, what can you say about him? He's finally living up to expectations. Okay. I'm glad to see that happen. A's number 3 for me.
All right. I don't know. You now, but yeah, Wi-Fi issues. I don't know what's going on here, but yeah. So I'm going to continue. I think Espo's good now. I see him moving.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think you're good now.
I got lost there.
This is why you love Twitch, and this is why you love live podcasting.
Out. I think I got cut out, and I was in the middle of the A's, or?
Yes, you were in the middle of the Oakland A's. Yes, winner of 13 straight. Well, just lost their most recent game. So good pick there. I do have them a little higher, but I'll get into that shortly. Number 3 for me is the Boston Red Sox. Pains me to say it, but the team's been playing hella good ball. Another just surprise team out of the gate. Yeah, I mean, all the credit to them right now. They're 14-9. That's a 609 winning percentage right now. I think their next series, I believe, is against the Mets. So
yes, sir.
We'll see what happens there. Maybe the Mets will knock them back down to size, and I'd like to see that. But the Red Sox
we'll
right now
can for you.
Have my number 3 spot.
Yeah.
Who do you got at number 2?
Number 2, I'm going to go with the second best team in baseball, also the second best team in California, San Diego Padres. Winning 3 out of 4 at Dodger Stadium shows me they can hang with the big boys in the bright lights. Prime time last night, that was easily the best game of the season so far. I mean, Dodgers were up 7-1, and the Padres just come storming back, and they take it in extra innings. They have the depth to match up with the Dodgers in October.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the record maybe doesn't indicate they're on a level playing field with the Dodgers so far, but believe me when I say it, they're every bit as good as the Dodgers, and they're going to be neck and neck till the very end.
Oh, boy. I wish we had Joe to listen to that one. But my number 2 spot is the best team in the American League, as you mentioned before, the Oakland Athletics. And I gotta give credit where credit's due. I mean, the fact that this team finds a way every single year to get into a position where they're a contender with their payroll and with the guys they bring on is amazing. And hey, they even lost one of their biggest key acquisitions, in the offseason, Trevor Rosenthal, and they still have one of the best bullpens in the game. The Oakland Athletics, unbelievable team. As mentioned before, the winning streak, 13 straight games, 14-8 to start their year. So they're just chucking along. And again, another rivalry game. They're playing the Tampa Bay Rays. So just as I have the Mets I'm hoping the Mets just stop a mud hole in the Red Sox. I'm hoping the same for the Oakland A's, for the Tampa Bay Rays. But I'm not biased. No, no disrespect. No disrespect. All right, number 1. Who we got? I mean, should we say it at the same time?
Number 1, Rich. The king, stay the king, Rich. The Dodgers.
The Dodgers. Management Scalia would like to say. Yes, the Dodgers, of course, are the number 1 team in our power rankings, as they are with almost every power ranking that's out there. 15-7 record for the Dodgers. They have 3 legitimate aces in their rotation. It's almost unfair that this team is still as good with Cody Bellinger on defense. It's incredible what they're able to just put together. But that team is just, oh my God, that team is just
Mookie's not even really hitting well either.
Yeah. And they have guys that are struggling. It's incredible what they've done. It's a team that easily should be winning another World Series this year. And it's not even close where these other teams lay. I mean, yeah, on the American League side, the Oakland A's can give them a fight, but the Dodgers are just that much better. And in doing these power rankings, obviously we did in a list order, but hey, there's a large gap between the number 2 and the number 1 for me, in my opinion. I mean, it's that bad.
Well, I know it's just April, but for me, I don't know. The Padres might be closing that gap, but we'll see, man. We will see.
Hell of a series for the Padres. They made a statement there, taking 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers, as you hoped for last week on the show when we had Joe on. So it was nice to see. And Tatis and Bauer, I can watch that matchup forever. Like, that is just a great matchup for baseball.
I love it.
All righty, guys. Well, that is our power rankings. Whether you like them or not, I don't really care. But hey, that's them. Leading off power rankings for the month of April heading into May. And make sure to listen to my Yankee podcast later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, here on Twitch, Savages in the Bronx, hosted by me and my fellow co-host, Tom Ospel, who's in our chat. Hey, Tom, how's it going? We actually have a really cool guest joining us from the Somerset Patriots, Mark Schwartz, who is the play-by-play commentator over with the Pats. So got some good Q&A with him later tonight. So make sure to check that out in about a half hour East Coast time. That's 8 o'clock p.m. on Twitch. But let's end our show with some fan-submitted questions. And we've had a lot. I mean, between word of mouth and social media and hell, even this Twitch chat right now. A lot of good questions coming in. So we'll start it off with a fun one here, asked by Corey Favs. People say there's something romantic about baseball. What is the better love story? The average fan's love of the game or Aaron Boone's relationship with Brett Gardner?
Oh, man. Well, you're probably better equipped to answer that one, Rich.
Yeah, there is no love that is greater than the love that Aaron Boone has for Brett Gardner. He loves that thumb man that's 38 or whatever the fuck he is, 45. I don't know how old Gardner is. He's probably lying about his age. But the love he has for that man who is so undeserving of starting playing time is unfathomable. And considering how they have way better talent in their system than that man, it's wild that Gardner finds the amount of starting playing time that he does. And not only that, his position in the lineup, he's hitting third, he's hit first. I mean, it's unbelievable how much Aaron Boone loves this guy.
I feel like it's a yearly discussion we have. So is this the year the Yankees finally move on from Gardner? And you're always like, yes, I'm confident they're finally going to do it. And then just March rolls around every year and Cashman's on the phone. Hey, Brett, so what are you up to this year? And, just it's like clockwork.
It's a sad, sad tale, but it is clockwork. And this guy is just going to have 1-year contracts, for the next 15 years. I mean, it's nuts.
Hey, not a bad gig for him.
There are going to be guys who are going to be attending the Yankees Old-Timers Day that are younger than Brett Gardner. And let's move on. He just pisses me off. More on Brett Gardner at 8 p.m. Savages in the Bronx. Greg Kandari asked a very good question that I told him I'd get to. George Springer set to come back on Tuesday. With Randall Grichuk's performance so far, how do the Blue Jays put him back on the bench? Him as in Grichuk. How does he put Grichuk back on the bench since he's been performing well? And I'll actually pull up Randall Grichuk's numbers while Alex answers. Who's Alex? ESPO answers this question.
Who? Man, that's a really great question. And it's a tough one to answer, but I think the answer is that you can't bench Randall Grichuk with the way he's been hitting thus far. He has had a pretty inconsistent career, but so far the results speak for themselves. That's not a bat you can take out of the lineup right now. So I don't know what their other options might be. Maybe they decide maybe they give Gurriel less playing time, or they do want to ease Springer back in, I'm sure. So I'm sure they'll find a way to have everyone playing, but I mean, hey, it's a good problem to have for sure, but I don't think you can bench Grichuk.
The easiest part of this answer is obviously you cannot bench George Springer. You paid him those millions of dollars. He is going to be your starting center fielder. That's without a doubt. All right, so who gets the boot if Grichuk stays in the lineup, which I obviously think the man should. He's deserving of it. 292 batting line, 4 homers, 16 RBIs, and this man also led the Blue Jays in ribbies in the past season in 2020. Let's look at the depth here of what we could do. The only move makes it right now. Right now, Grichuk's going to be in fine company because Teoscar Hernandez is still on the COVID IL, so he's going to be
back soon too.
Right, so he's on the COVID IL right now. So there is a spot currently open in the outfield, but let's just say hypothetically Teoscar comes back too. What do you do? Oh man, it might be at the cost of Lourdes Gurriel. Unfortunately, I think it might be at the cost of Gurriel. And again, here's the good thing about Gurriel is he could play multiple positions. You don't have to just stick him in left field. He could play, he can play shortstop. He can play third base. So he could be a guy that you can consistently keep in the lineup and give other guys regular rest days. But you can continuously change up Gurriel's role. That's if I was the manager of the Blue Jays. I mean, that's what I would do. I don't know. What do I know? I just managed a fucking Sunday softball.
Who are we, Rich? We're just podcasters.
I have no fucking clue. All right. Core Ryan asks, White Claw the official beverage of Leading Off Podcast? No, it is not. It is just the official beverage of my quarantine right now. So, but we'll get into that.
What if they paid you to do it, Rich? Would you?
If they paid me to do it, I'd be drinking White Claws every day.
If you're drinking White Claws every day, we got other problems. Moving on.
Last question here. M took 45X. Do you think the White Sox will keep Kopech in the rotation?
Man, I hope so. That guy was absolutely lights out yesterday against the Rangers. That's just a sign of what he can do. I mean, obviously we've seen small glimpses of his potential, but he's just he just kind of seems to be that great mystery of a prospect over these last few years, and we're finally getting to see what he can do. So I say the White Sox gotta stick with him in the rotation. I'm not sure who the odd man out would be, though.
Yeah, definitely. He has to be the man in the rotation. According to Fangraphs, he does have the 5 spot in that rotation, led by, of course, Lucas Giolito. You got Dylan Cease, Carlos Rodon, Dallas Keuchel, and Michael Kopech. Where is Lance Lynn? He is obviously hurt. He is on the IL. So that's how Kopech has that 5th spot. Do they run a 6-man rotation if Lynn returns? We also don't know how, if Lynn will make a return anytime soon. You kind of hope that, Dylan Cease is going to be a solid contributor. He had a great 2020 as well, but he could possibly be an odd man out. So you don't know there, but Kopech definitely has earned his keep in that rotation. I lied. I'll take another question because this is a good one from Corey Fabs once again. Question for ESPO and Rich, but ESPO, you answer on behalf of the Mets. I'll answer on behalf of the Yankees. What is the one upgrade you would love to see your team make today?
I would like Kevin Pillar to be jettisoned from the earth. That would be the upgrade I would like to see. No, I don't want it that strong. Maybe just designated for assignment.
God.
No, I mean honestly, for the Mets, I don't want to get greedy here, but I do think we could use a bit more help in the bullpen, and I think that reinforcement is coming in the name of Seth Lugo. I think he's kind of the forgotten piece of all the Mets walking wounded right now.
Mm-hmm.
If he can come back strong, that just gives them so much more depth and another back end piece to go with Diaz and May, who's been a little shaky. Aaron Loop, who's been pretty decent. I think that could be a real X factor for the Mets.
Yeah, definitely. My upgrade for the Yankees. It's tough because I don't want to get all fantasy trade right now. I maybe want to make a more realistic move. I think the most realistic move is, hey, let's just stick with one fucking different batting order. Like one batting order. Aaron Boone has changed his batting order way too many times. You have no one getting consistent reps in a certain position. Now Rougned Odor is hitting cleanup after he was hitting towards the bottom. Aaron Hicks was hitting 3rd. Now he's hitting 6th. Well, now he's hurt, but it doesn't even matter. Gardner's hit 7th, 3rd, 4th, 1st. He's the fucking jack of all trades. Keep the lineup somewhat consistent is the only realistic upgrade I'll make right now. Obviously, I could talk more about that later in a few minutes on the other show, but as a realistic upgrade, let's just keep the lineup in a consistent flow and not fuck around too much. One more question. I promise it's the last one because we've got some good ones here again. Core Ryan again has asked, who are your early season MVP, Cy Youngs, and Rookie of the Years? Real quick, Espo, who do you got?
Can I do one man for both? Because I think he's worthy of it.
I think you're going to, so...
Jacob deGrom for MVP and Cy. I mean, Cy obviously is a lock, but MVPs to pitchers, they're a rare breed. But how can you not? He's just been video game like.
Incredible, yeah, just incredible. I agree with that.
At least in the NL, but AL, what do you have?
AL MVP, AL Cy Young. AL Cy Young right now has got to go to Shane Bieber. Once again, just
doing it.
Again, you said video game numbers again. And it looks legit. Like many said last year, it's like, hey, Bieber only pitched to his division. He only pitched in 6, he only pitched in a part of a shortened season. Who knows it's a real fucking deal. This guy can deal, man. So he gets my Cy Young pick for the American
300 strikeouts for Bieber this year?
Possibly.
We'll see.
A hot take for next week if we talk about that.
We'll see.
MVP though, oof. MVP is a tough one. I think JD Martinez, honestly. JD's off to a fantastic start with the Red Sox. Surprise bounce back for JD. I'm putting my Yankee hat and fanhood aside. I'm gonna say JD Martinez MVP.
Comeback player of the year for sure.
Rookie of the years are hard because I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Call me out as a bad fan. You did mention Kopech. Kopech, I think, is still within his term. I think he's still a rookie. So Kopech is a good one.
I got for National League Rookie of the Year.
What do you got?
I'm still on the Brian Hayes train, baby. I don't know when he's coming back, but at some point he will, and he is gonna mash, baby. Just you wait.
Fantastic. Well, good stuff, Espo, and thank you very much. Oh, Yerman Mercedes. Yep. Thank you, Core. That's a good one. Yerman Mercedes. All right. That's definitely
Beamer, Benz, or
Bentley. Couldn't think of it off my top of my head. Shame on me. All right, guys. Well, that will do it for tonight's edition of Leading Off. We had a nice attendance and great participation in chat. So thank you all for joining us tonight. We'll see you here next week at 7 p.m. as always. Got to thank my folks for all their love and support. I want a quick shout out to my mom, who a few of you guys know she's recovering from being sick, with COVID, but she's doing great. So hopefully we just keep it going with her, and I love all your prayers and your support, guys. So thank you very much for sending it my way over the last week. Alex, anybody, Espo, anybody you want to thank?
I'd like to thank everyone that calls me by my proper nickname. No, I'm kidding. That was me.
Sorry.
No, I'd like to thank the Academy. We did have the Oscars yesterday. No, fuck the Academy. They ain't shit. I'd like to thank the family, as always. You guys rock. And like the New York Mets for being awesome and winning some games finally. And I'd like to thank you. Always putting on a great production, brother.
100%, guys. All righty. Well, thank you very much for joining again. We'll see you here next week